Welcome back to another episode of Hotel Talk with me, your host, Farah Shamas. And today I have with us the lovely and beautiful Maria Sibirtseva. Did I say that correctly?
Almost, yeah.
Yeah, almost. Always. Can you say it properly?
Maria Sibirtseva.
Okay, Sibirtseva. It's always tough with different surnames. I get it
Of
all the
course.
time with mine. So Maria is the organizer of Fuckup events in Cyprus. I think that's the first time I've properly sworn on Hotel Talk. And she's also a marketeer. So it's really, I'm also in marketing. So it's, that's my background. So it's great to have you with us.
Thanks for the invitation.
Thank you. And I can't wait to be part of the next Fuckup events coming up in April, aren't they?
Yeah, April 8th.
Yes, April the 8th. So, tell everyone, what are Fuckup events and why should they go and see them?
So, Fuckup Events is actually the world's franchise. It's a huge series of events that happen all around the globe, actually in more than 260 cities around the globe.
Wow,
Yeah.
260.
Yeah, so
I
for
didn't realize it was that
example,
many.
when we have it in Limassol, they might have it in Dubai, Georgia, I don't know, London, somewhere else, so all around the world. And we brought it to Limassol because we realized that there is no such kind of events. And actually, Limassol community is quite traditional, so in Cyprus community. So we wanted to break this status quo a bit with something new. And Fuckup Nights is like a series of events where people are not allowed to share their success stories, so they need to share their failures. And this is the most interesting part because on the stage you usually see the most successful people of the country or like of the region, and they share like their setbacks, their like worst situations in their life, in their business, in their career. And I think this is very inspiring to see the authenticity and vulnerability of everyone was there.
And also, as you said, to break that status quo of fearing failure, there is so much now in books, in podcasts, in interviews of really famous people saying, no, my failures were the best part. They were what made me me. And I think that's something, maybe our schooling and education system makes us fear doing something wrong, being seen as, failure.
But also, like at school, you always have this grades that you have to be the best. You need to have A plus or something else, and it's like it becomes natural that you're kind of competing not with yourself but with
Others.
And
I
yeah.
love that. So how has it been bringing such an event to Cyprus? Because as you say, like the Cypriots, the local community is definitely, there's a lot of, we're a small island, small country. It's very normal to have that environment where people want to show their best side, where they put on personas. Now, even internationally, we're talking social media. Everybody wants that glossed, perfect image. So suddenly to be so raw and authentic and say, okay, this is my warts and all are coming out. How has that been? And also, we're not a culture here in Cyprus that people embrace swearing very often. So, these are not called mistake nights or mess up nights. This is, where people get on stage. And I think you've counted before how many times someone has said fuck it in any, or fuck up in any one talk. It's been like something like 30 or 40 or 50 times. So how has that been?
Actually, quite good. I think people in Cyprus were ready for that. You know, um, we've been talking to many people here, and this franchise is actually 11 years old. So it's not new. When I was starting my career back in Kiev, in Ukraine, I used to go to these events, and I was like, oh my God, who are these people who are speaking there, who are organizing this? They must be so cool and like so great. And I wish I would be there one day. And now, when we brought it to Cyprus, um, I think the community like I don't want to say 10 years passed, but the community
Yeah.
was completely ready to embrace the other side of success and
Hmm.
what's happening. And actually, for the so it's been a year. On March 5, it's gonna be 1 year since we bought the franchise.
Yay, congratulations.
Thank you. And we've got like almost no bad comments or any kind of comments about the swearing. We had one comment on LinkedIn where somebody said like, okay, so if we're doing business events, maybe we shouldn't swear, but like we just explained that this is part of a concept
Mm.
and
Yeah,
that's it. Yeah.
absolutely.
So for some reason, people were so excited about that, and many came and they're like, "Oh, finally, we can be open. We can be ourselves. We can do
Yeah.
whatever we want. We don't have to have this glossy picture that I never swear. No, I swear, and I like to swear and stuff like that."
Well, it's very liberating. And I think just to let that curtain down, let that wall down, and just say, this is me.
Yeah.
And I think more and more people need to embrace that. I think I told you years ago, I did a talk in Limassol, and the talk was about pulling yourself up when you've been down. How do you start again? And I think it was called something like that. And there were quite a few people there, and I swore during that
Mm.
because it was about, you know, being down in the dumps and feeling terrible, and then just feeling better, pulling yourself up.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, afterwards, I had quite a few Cypriots say to me, "Oh my goodness, I can't believe you swore on stage." And but yeah, as we said, that was many years ago. I
Yeah.
think the community's grown now, and yeah, we're not advocating bad behavior. We're just promoting authenticity.
I think actually like the thing that we're swearing and that there is like this Fuckup Nights name, it's not more about like being a bad person or saying something bad. It's more like, lowering down the importance of the failure. So when
Mm,
you say like a failure, you feel like this is some big concept and you're like a person who failed and something like this. But when it's a fuck up, so, oh, it's a fuck up. Oh my God, I spilled my tea. Or I don't know, oh, it's a fuck up. I showed up to a podcast and I didn't bring, I don't know, my
yeah,
pen to write something. And you just try to make people not pay attention or to the failure so much because this is failure is like a starting point. Okay, you had it and then you build up on that.
yeah,
And I
absolutely.
think this helps when you don't take it so serious
Mm,
because it's just a part of life.
hmm. I love that. So, what's been the most memorable part for you of this journey? Like, because you've had so many people. How many fuck up events have you done so far?
Three,
Three.
yeah, but
And each time, how many speakers are there?
four speakers.
Four
So
speakers.
it's been
Okay,
12
12.
speakers so far, and every event we had at least 130, 150 people. So basically, it's already around 800 people for us who came to the
Yeah,
events.
who've been to see it.
Yeah.
So, what's been the most memorable part so far? Um, okay, you can't say who your favorite speaker was, but maybe both in Cyprus and internationally with different
hmm
fuck ups that you've seen, speeches and talks. What's been the ones that you've maybe resonated the most with or that have made the biggest impact on you?
I think during the last Fuck Up Nights event that was in Seven Seas, Um, we had Elena Krutova as a speaker. She's the chief administrative officer at Remedica. They're doing like drugs to find cancer
Hmm.
and fight cancer. And before she had a managerial position at Exness, and it was like a very high speed of hiring people and doing stuff. And then she burned out, and she was sharing her story of burning out and trying to cure herself with things that don't work. Like she was buying fancy cars, she was doing tattoos, she was, I don't know, traveling around the world until she realized that like she just needs to um, change her life. You can't, when you're burned out, you can't just place a patch on you and you're healed. No, it's a long journey. And I think so many people resonated with that. And like we had shivers all over our body
Mm.
because like everyone sometimes is on the same stage where you're too affectionate about what you're doing, and at some point you need to stop and pause for a bit and then start again. So I love her story totally, but actually all the stories are amazing because you can find yourself in every
And
story.
all of them,
Yeah.
yeah, resonate with everything. I love that. And have you had any challenges actually organizing the events? I mean, that's quite a lot of people, 130 people to come
Yeah.
to each one and convince people they need to buy these tickets and come. So, in setting up the events, you have a partner also in Cyprus. What have you guys found that have what's worked, what hasn't worked? Have you found the venues? Because also the venues have to be cozy, don't they?
Yeah, yeah.
That's the whole idea. It's not to be some open hall. Do you have a limitation on how many people can come, or yeah? Tell us a bit about that.
It's been a lot of challenges, like in fuck ups, so many because you know, like before I've been doing events as a part of a company, so I work full time at an IT company, and we've been doing similar kind of events, but with a team of 20 people. And now we don't have the team. So we had to learn everything from scratch, to start from scratch, to understand like how, how the Cyprus community will perceive us, because some people were, when we bought the franchise and we didn't have any events yet, people were actually asking like, do you think somebody will come? And it was like so anxious because I came to Cyprus
Yeah, it's a
like,
lot of pressure.
yeah, 3 years ago. I don't have like a strong personal brand here. I also was starting from scratch, and um, so the first challenges were just to realize how to put together an event.
Mm,
So we literally Googled some things about, I don't know, like w- what you need to have in every event, or what are there any templates on how to make it. But of course, because we have marketing experience, it's easier to promote it and stuff like that. And then it was quite challenging to find the first speakers, because those people who are new, I don't know, from Reflect Festival, from my work, um, a lot of them were hesitating to come because, like, let's see how people react and then we see if we want to join. So I'm super grateful to the speakers who were at the first edition, and they were brave enough to support us and to come and to share their fuck ups without knowing anything, like will it work out, or how it's is it gonna be good one,
mm.
or what's gonna be the reaction of the Cyprus community as well. Also, we had a very big challenge of technical setup, because we always try to have a presentation for speakers so they can put their own like pictures and make the stories more relatable, so people can look at some, I
Mm.
don't know, moments in their lives. And usually, like, okay, so you come to one place. For example, I shared the story in during the 70s event. Our first event was in Cinema Bar in the old town, and when we booked the event, we thought that we will play the presentations on this huge, beautiful screen. But when in the beginning of May we came to the cinema bar and our event was booked for 6 p.m., we
It's still
realized that
daylight.
until 8, nothing will be shown on the screen. And at 9, we already have to finish. So I had to bring TV from my home. We had to set it up and we had to do all this, like a lot of improvisation. The same stuff was when we decided to plan the event in September,
Hmm.
and we just didn't count that Cyprus is dead in August. You can't do printing until a couple of days before the event. You can't do anything because people are literally on vacation.
Mm.
And it was the most challenging part to have the event in the beginning of September, because like we had somebody's not replying, somebody's not working, somebody left for 3 weeks, something like this. So it was like plenty of challenges, but now I feel like I know what to do. And the second year should be easier for sure.
It's true. Every time you just
Yeah.
get, yeah, better at it, more of a pro. So tell us a bit about you. Tell us about your marketing background, what you do, what's your day job?
Okay, so I work at Deposit Photos, which is a stock photography company, and we're now also developing our AI tools. And I work in this company for 6 years already. So I
And it's
started.
based in Cyprus, this company.
It's actually a Ukrainian company, so it was based in Ukraine and it still is. And one of the offices is here
Mm.
in Cyprus, and I was lucky because I was be able to relocate here without losing my job and like staying with the same team. So there, I'm responsible for the content marketing team. I'm doing like creative projects, public speaking, marketing, copywriting, so everything around that.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so this is my it takes most of my time. Of course, also Fuckup Nights, and a couple of years ago, I accidentally started kind of a public speaking career. And now it's also a big part of my life where I not only do events, but I also speak at European wide events. So when our company is participating in some kind of expos or trade shows or conferences, I'm the person who is speaking on stage and representing the company.
Amazing. And you talk about marketing or about the stock photos or everything.
Marketing, yeah,
Yeah.
about marketing mostly, content marketing, AI now, because we have introduced our own AI image generator and we're doing
Wow.
like the same stuff. So we're exploring a lot the um, collaboration of people and AI. So what's happening on the intersection of these things? Because you know there are a lot of talk that all our jobs will be not so important
Oh
anymore.
my goodness, what a load. I'm laughing. I'm like, what jobs? Like, where, do you know how many jobs are being advertised and there aren't people for it?
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah,
come on. I think we need to embrace the change and enjoy it.
definitely, yeah.
So tell us a bit then. So you speak about this. What should we all be looking out for? What's the new trends in marketing? And what do we need to know that will help our businesses?
I think actually that authenticity is the biggest trend, and this is what we do with Fuckup Nights.
Mm,
Um, so I wanted to say one thing. So when I've been speaking to many people here, they said, "Okay, we knew about this franchise and we wanted to bring it a couple of years ago, but we thought, okay, so people might not react very well, or do like, or they might not like this event. So
mm,
we're like, okay, we will not do this because it's available. Anybody could purchase it.
mm,
So now I think we got in the right moment when this trend is really evolving of the authenticity of not super edited stories and everything. And I think the most important thing is actually what you're doing is to have personal brand behind yourself and behind your brand, like the
mm,
hotel or like any other projects, because people want to come to people. They don't want to come to, I don't know, oh, okay, it's a nice hotel. So what? But I want to know your story. I want to know your values. I want to align with your values, with the values of your family. And this is what builds the strongest connection. And especially now when um, a lot of people like are so worried about what's happening in the world, it's very important to feel this human connection and support. And I think this is what's going to be like authenticity, vulnerability, and personal brand behind the big brand. So
mm.
basically, all stuff that you're doing
Ah, thank
already,
you.
the dinners and like the
Yeah.
brunches, the podcast, everything.
That's the idea. I think a few years ago in marketing, there was a massive trend to find your niche
Mm-hmm.
and then just be that. And I think not everyone, but some people are breaking away from that. I always had a problem with that because I was like, well, what is my niche? Like, I have 10 different things I'm interested in, and I'm equally part of all of them. And so,
Mm-hmm.
why should I just be visible, I don't know, showing my hotel side? Or why should I just be talking about veganism? Or why should I just be a public speaker? Or if you have everything, it's okay to show that you've got
Yeah.
everything and also develop. There's one guy that I follow online, massive, millions and millions of followers, and he has always been in fitness. And he just posted, I think 5 days ago, saying, you know what, it's been 15 years of publishing things on fitness, and I'm bored of it.
Mm-hmm.
I've done it. I've got a family now. He's like, if you don't like what I'm going to post from now on, don't. But I'm just going to post about my everyday life. And
Yeah.
you get tired of just being this persona, and
Yeah,
I
but
get that.
because in real life you're different.
Mm,
One day you're like, I don't know, a great and caring mother. The other day you're a tired woman. Another day you're an inspired woman, and then you're like angry woman, and all that is really happening, and you need to show that, not to show
yeah,
that
real
you're
side.
like have one face and that's it.
I know, but I told you I've been asked by a few people in Cyprus why I go online without makeup. And I'm like, okay. And one lady, she really made me laugh because she's like, oh, you look so nice. She saw me out at a lunch. She's like, oh, your makeup's so pretty. She's like, you should just have it like this all the time, which I do have makeup on most of the time. But I go on when I'm home and I'm with
Yeah.
my kids and I'm dirty and I've got, I don't know, food on me. And, I used to breastfeed and I was just a mess. But I'd be like, oh, guys, this is what we're eating today. Or that's real life. Like I'm not polished all the time. But for many people who are very much affected by what they want the world to see or perceive of them, that's quite shocking.
Yeah, and I think this is part of the mission with Fuck Up Nights, to break that status quo, that stigma that like you're somebody you're not.
Mm,
No,
yeah.
you have your fuck ups, you have your stories, and this is what you should value in yourself, and this is who you should be, and like what you
Mm,
should show. Because I'm working with a coach, and I'm really into psychology. And for the last couple of years, what I discovered is that what drains you the most is pretending who to be somebody else.
mm,
So you spend so much energy on wearing this mask that
mm,
you should use this energy on making something good and making something valuable on enjoying your life. But when you're pretending all the time, you don't have even the energy to be happy, not
mm,
like for many other things. So this is also like part of my mission, to explain that to people, because I've been there and I know how important it is.
mm. So what's been your biggest fuck up?
Oh, I had so many fuck ups, like literally a lot, because I come from entrepreneurial family, and they were making me try many things all the time. And while I always had a full-time job, so from 17 years I were working as a journalist, then I was working like a copywriter, a marketer. I always had side projects, so I had very bad projects with uh, awful business models. Where I had so I had a website about books, where my monetization scheme was to read these books and write the reviews. So people paid me money to read books. But okay, some books were small, but then I started like receiving books of, I don't know, 1,000 pages. I
Oh,
realized that I can't do this for 20 euros anymore, and I spent like years doing that. And then I'm like, okay, so it's not working and I need to figure something out. So then I had a huge fuck up where I printed 3,000 sets of postcards that nobody purchased.
oh my goodness, what did you do with them? I love the laugh.
So I put all my savings into printing. So in every set, there were like 10 postcards. It was like a Christmas theme. And I put it like in the boxes, and I spread it around different places, like in Kiev, so people can purchase. But because the production costs were so expensive, I put a very expensive price. And when I came to the different cafes and venues to collect it, I don't know, in spring, everyone was telling me nobody bought them. So for, I don't know, it's been 7 years and I still have a stock of these postcards that nobody purchased. But I really spent a lot of time on that. I had I had a lot of fuck ups where, and this was big and actually now it looks funny, but for example, I had a public speaking presentation where I felt so confident about myself that I decided not to prepare and not to promote it anyhow, and nobody came. I had only one person listening to me, and it was like actually the time when I lost my confidence so much, because at first my confidence was like this because doing public speaking for like 2 years already. I don't have to prepare. I'm good enough. And then like nobody comes and nobody's interested in me, and I'm not such a star as I thought I was. And it was like such a huge fuck up that I was recovering actually for a couple of months, because this is where you rely not on the right things.
Mm. Well, that's amazing, though. And that's what made you do what you do now and do it so well. So, yeah, all of these are gentle, maybe not so sometimes gentle reminders of what we need to be doing and what's important.
Yeah, but like when people ask me, what's your biggest fuck up? Uh, Especially now when I'm focused on working with fuck ups, I think it's fun. It's part of your journey. Of course, you don't feel well at some point
At the
when it
time,
happens.
yeah.
Yeah, at the time. But then, like, okay, so it was part of the journey. Now I know that I need to make a market research
Mm,
and put the right price. I know that, I don't know, that reading books for money is not a good monetary value for your skills and for your time. So you need to, I don't know, to do banners, to do other kind of ads, to do SEO, to promote your
mm,
website. So with these fuck ups, I've been learning like X10 from what I knew at that moment, and actually I see so much value in that.
mm,
And now, although I have much more um, experience in public speaking, and I also moderate our events, and I speak, I don't know, at Reflect Festival and many other events. I always prepare as like the first time in my life. And I also do like, the breathing gymnastics. I do like I rehearse at home in front of mirror, and I really try and I put effort into it every time, although I'm much more experienced than I was like before.
mm.
So I think it's having fuck-ups is great.
It's true. Embrace the failures. I love it. Thank you for sharing that because that's very, very real and very, very important. So tell us a bit about Ukraine and moving here and growing up and the person behind who we see today. Tell us a bit about the younger Maria.
Oh, very complex question, but I think that I have always been interested into creativity and into arts, and I think this is what brought me to the point where I am now,
Mm-hmm.
because I've been dancing and I've been dancing for 11 years, the Latin dances, and I was on stage, and I'm not afraid of stage. And this influenced me. I've been drawing, so I really like to create nice content. I like to organize beautiful events. I like to do creative projects that also
Mm-hmm.
look beautiful and then bring value. And also all the things that I was doing as a child, of course, they influenced now. And I think that the childhood in Ukraine, of course, it's very different from what you had in Cyprus or,
Mm,
I don't know, somewhere else in Europe or in the US. But I think that it's been so great for me because of the family support. Even when my family was trying to kick me out to do something outside my comfort zone, it helped me a lot as well. And mm, I think that what I'm doing now in Cyprus, uh, like with the Fuckup Nights and with this mission, is something that I feel like I wasn't be able to achieve in Ukraine, because like I've been living in Ukraine until the end of my BA degree. Then I went for almost 3 years to London, and my family was hoping that I will stay in London and like such a beautiful city, but I felt so homesick and I love
mm,
Ukraine so much that I said like, yeah, I'm sorry, but I'm coming home. And this is where my heart is, and this is where I will invest my resources and everything. But then when the war happened and I made this decision to relocate and to live in Cyprus, I feel like now I have even more passion to create something. And uh, I think it's like uh, what we're doing with the events is to say thank you to Cyprus hosting us, to making feel at home, because I lived in different countries. I lived in the UK, I lived in Germany for some time, in Austria. I've never felt as much at home as here. And I see a lot of value in this, and I see what as person who's coming like from bigger city, from a country with 40 million people and with a lot of innovations, how can I contribute to Cyprus and what I can bring personally here based on like my culture, my background, everything. And now for me it's like amazing time when I can everything that I had for 20 plus years in Ukraine I can start doing here, and like show that also mm, build a brand around Ukrainians, a stronger brand that they can contribute to the culture, that they're not coming and just, I don't know, consuming, but they're also like
Hmm.
developing and contributing fairly to like, and they're very thankful for other countries hosting them. So yeah, I think that um, it's all just came together in one puzzle, and now I feel like this is the right place for me to be.
Oh,
So
that's lovely. So tell us about Ukraine and the war,
hmm.
how that must have shocked. I don't, because nobody saw it coming. You know, it was so quick to develop. It wasn't a troubled or problematic region, at least from the outsiders'
Yeah.
point of view. And I know so many Ukrainians and so many Russians, and we have lots of clients from both, and we love everyone dearly. And it's all been so sad. So tell us, as a Ukrainian, how that felt suddenly to realize your country was spiraling into a huge war, and then having to leave, and obviously having the fear of your family still being there.
Mm, actually, the war in so for us it wasn't so unexpected because the war in Ukraine is happening since 2014. So it wasn't all over the country. It was in some of the occupied territories, and we've been living in this state of war for many years. But we never thought that the full-scale invasion will happen with like I don't know rockets flying. And now when I was at home uh, for almost 3 weeks. 70% of the nights I was sitting in the bathroom because of the explosions and like because it's not safe to like sleep in your bed. But I will tell you a funny story.
I love it. Find the humor. Okay.
Actually about it. This is my favorite story, but it's not good actually. So when the war started, my father called me at 5 a.m. in the morning, and he said like, "Hi Maria, how you're doing?" And I'm like, "Okay, I'm a grown up and I know that if somebody calls you at night, either somebody died or something else happened. You don't call at 5 a.m. and ask like how you doing." And I'm like, "What's up?"
Let's cut to the chase. Tell me,
Yeah,
Dad.
yeah. And he's like, "So the war has officially started. Please gather your stuff and come to our home so our family sticks together and like we are not worried about you and stuff." So, uh, you know, I think I have a bit of a romantic vision even in a bad stuff. So I never knew how the real war can look like in the 21st century. And for me, it was like from the history classes. If I don't see tanks on the street, there is no war. And I opened my window and I lived on the 16th floor. I opened my window and people are going to work. And I'm like, okay, so we've had war since 2014, nothing is happening. So what I did, I went to the shower. I did mask for my hair. I did mask for my face. I did I styled my hair with the Dyson. Then I did the makeup. Then I decided that I will start reading the Atlas Shrugged book, to which I've been postponing for so many years. I just bought like a new coffee machine, so I brewed some coffee for me. I sat down near the Christmas tree and I was reading the book, like, and I realized that at 1 p.m. I have a water delivery. And I'm calling my father around, I don't know, 9 or 10 a.m. And I tell like, okay, so I'm not coming anywhere because I have water delivery. I'm staying until 1 and then I'll come. And he's like, Maria, you didn't understand. The war is happening. Like it's really right now and the airports have already been hit. And like you need to come to our house because in our house they had well-equipped bomb shelters and
Mm.
we could stay there. And I thought, okay, so if my father starts to scream and getting angry with me, maybe I need to pack my stuff and go. So I started packing, and at this time, the air sirens started
Yeah, sounding.
sounding very loud, and this is when I freaked out the most. And people were panicking so much, so it was like huge traffic jams all over the city. It took me to drive 7 kilometers around 2 hours. So I was driving with some bags and to my parents' house, and then in a couple of days, I was leaving for Europe. So for 4 days, we were standing in the queue of cars to the border. We didn't eat in 4 days because all the shops and everything were closed, and we only had some stocks that were in the car with us. We didn't wash or do anything for 4 days. So when I came to Warsaw 5 days later, I was crying for 2 hours after drinking the tea because for the first time I had an opportunity to drink something warm. And in this stuff that I left my home, I came to Cyprus in March. So I still have the fur coat. I still have like the boots and everything. And it's here, like, and
Mm.
I came here, it's 23 degrees, but I'm like in the winter clothes that I spent like over a week already in. And yeah, so it was a very challenging experience. And I think that the things that we saw, and I think the Lebanese people saw as well, I wouldn't ever want anybody to see and to be able to relate to that. Of course, we're looking for compassion and understanding, but this is the worst that can happen. I mean, like, if somebody would ask me what's the worst that happened with your country or with your
Mm.
life, this is,
War.
yeah.
So I always say, and I can't understand now that we're seeing two wars go on, or genocide as well, and I can't understand how anybody can support any of it. It's just beyond me. There's no winners in war ever,
Yeah, yeah.
ever from any side, and it's just I don't know, seeing children targeted and innocent people and elderly and women and soldiers. It's just been harrowing, definitely from Lebanon as well. I mean, last year was, I think, horrific for so many people from so many nationalities.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, yeah, thank you for sharing that because I think it's really, really important
And
for
thank you
people
for
to hear
asking. Yeah.
and understand. And, it's easy for us to sit anywhere in the world and take it for granted and drink our tea and have our showers and say, oh, there's something going on over there. But it's real. People are scared, people are dying, people are missing their loved ones. And it's,
Yeah, and it's the same as happened in Cyprus. Families are separated. Like every family, either somebody has died or moved abroad, and
mhm,
or somebody's in Ukraine. They are all over the world. They're not seeing each other. They're missing each other.
yeah,
Yeah. So
yeah. So, are there any books now that you've said how many books you've read they've really inspired you, or you've said you have a coach, so maybe you've got a mentor, but a movie, a series, moving to lighter conversations now to end the podcast, that somebody should read or watch or listen to that have
With
inspired
books,
you?
yeah, I'm very easy with books. I read a lot, and I think I'm reading a couple of books at the same time all the time. Among the last ones are, first of all, I really like the Daily Stoic
Okay.
book, and since I started
Is it on philosophy?
yeah, it's on the Stoic philosophy.
Yeah.
Since I started learning Greek,
Mm.
and it's not very easy
Easy.
for
It's
me.
not. It's not an easy language.
And I feel like I need to help myself somehow. I need to learn more about your culture, about
Mm.
the philosophy, about your values. And I started reading about the Stoic philosophy more so I can understand that. And I really enjoyed so
It's
many
very
things.
interesting, isn't
Yeah.
it? Yeah, Stoicism. Yeah.
So this book also, I really like one of the best books that shaped my approach to things and to my career is the first one is Essentialism by Greg McKeown. Do you know this book?
No, I'm
So
going to
it's
make a note. Giving me
I
my
can send
reading.
you, yeah, so Essentialism, it's a book how you can focus on what's important for you and how to set priorities in your life.
Hmm.
And the second book of the same author is Effortless. So how do you approach things with less tension and feeling less responsibility? And there was a very easy question in this book that changed the course of my last couple of months. So this author, he's sharing his life and that he has too many responsibilities as well. And he's saying, okay, so every time I have something big coming or I don't want to do some kind of task, I'm asking myself, can I make this easier for me? And when you approach something this way, you have so many solutions right then.
Yeah, definitely. I I'd probably say that is my philosophy anyway. As soon as I've written a book on, which hopefully you'll read when it comes out in the next couple of months, but just on balancing
Mm-hmm.
life. And yeah, that's something that I always say. If as soon as I say I should do that, that's a red flag for me. I should. No, I want to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, there are things in life that we have to do or we really should do, but they're actually much smaller than we think. So if I should go to this event, no, I want to go or I
Mm-hmm.
don't. And then yeah, just find the positive in everything. Yeah, for every problem there's a solution. So and keep your humor. Look at you. You've been laughing the whole way through this podcast. So, even on very serious subjects, just find the humor,
Yeah.
smile, and look at things in a different way.
What about your books?
My favorite
Yeah, yeah.
books. I was also asked that in an interview recently. I read a lot as well. I
Mm-hmm.
studied literature way back when, but I listen now more than read
Mm-hmm.
because I'm a mum. That's how much I'm in the car, hours a day. Um, I think my from last year. Last year I got through 52 books,
Oh my God.
and the the ones I think that resonated with me the most was Morgan Housel's The Psychology of Money.
I
Have you read
know.
it?
Yeah, no,
So
it's in
nice.
my bucket list. I will
Okay,
read it
so
the
read it. It was
next
it
one.
was my favorite
Yeah.
from 52 books. It was my favorite book of the year.
Amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I really liked it. And of course, I'm in the hospitality industry, so
Mm-hmm.
Unreasonable Hospitality by Will Gadara. That was also really good. And the other one that I really liked that I answered in an interview was Arnold Schwarzenegger's Be Useful.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
So I love autobiographies in
Mm-hmm.
general. And his book, I really liked that one. I think I have read another one of his years ago, but this one, it wasn't too long. Um, it was to the point. He gave loads of examples of his recent life. He didn't go into,
Mm-hmm.
too much um, of his massive fuck up and affair and everything else. He said in it, if you don't know what I did, Google it. I'm not going to talk about it. But he spoke about, yeah, just how how grateful he is for everybody that made him, and how giving back to society has been one of the best things. And yeah, so that was a really nice book.
Sounds great.
So yeah, I'd recommend those
And
those
did you
three.
read Matthew McConaughey, Green Light?
I bought it and then I gave it away.
Oh,
So
really?
yes, I think it's quite a big one, isn't it? And I was like,
No, I think it's
oh,
like
maybe that was his previous. I don't remember.
maybe, but this I really liked it. It's so authentic and so
Okay.
amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing,
All
yeah.
right. I'll do it. I'll.
Give it a
Okay.
second
I'm
try.
writing it. Yeah. Okay. I will. Okay. So favorite quote. I ask everybody this. You must have, being an avid reader, you must have so many, but tell us one.
I have to.
Okay. Tell us two. Go
And I have
wild.
a fuck up story around that.
Okay. I love it. I love it. Spill the beans.
So I have two tattoos.
Okay.
One is Fortune favors the brave,
Fortune favors the brave. I
and
like it.
I made this after the war because Ukrainian people have been very brave in this war, and they have been fighting one of the biggest countries in the world, and we are still standing
Mm.
3 years later and managing. And I think, and it's also a quote from the Ukrainian uh, writer who was in the 20th century. He was one of those who were trying to proliferate the Ukrainian culture during the like Russian Empire, and he was punished a lot, and he had a very difficult fate. But he was saying like that fortune favors the brave, and it stick for me like since
Yeah.
school times. And the other one is art for art's sake.
Is that on another tattoo?
Yeah,
Okay, they're both on tattoos. I love it.
yeah. And this one for me is that
Tell me again. Art for art's
art's
sake.
sake, yeah,
Okay.
that I need to create for the sake of process because um, I have this result driven mindset, but sometimes it's not what you should focus on. Process is no less important, and
Absolutely.
you
And
should,
it's much more fun,
yeah.
the
And also, like,
process.
for me, it's about create because you want to create, not
Mm.
because you should or some goal is
Absolutely.
waiting for you. So I have this too. And the funny story behind is that uh, I was launching, I used to have a podcast in Ukrainian. Unfortunately, I don't have time for that right now, but I had a podcast, and another, like the biggest fuck up, that I was so afraid to launch it because I've never done it before, and it takes so much things to do, like to come with a concept, to register yourself across the platforms, to find speakers, guests, la la. And for almost half a year, I was preparing myself to launch the podcast, and the name was Fortune Favors the Brave, but in Ukrainian. And when I published it and decided to check whether it's visible on the Apple Podcasts and everywhere, I realized there is a podcast with the same name published 1 week ago. So
Oh,
somebody was
how do you knew were
wicked.
delaying? Yeah.
Yeah, and if I did it like 1 week ago, it would be my name. So I had so many things in my head, like, oh my God, can I contact these people and ask them to delete because it's my idea? Or I don't know, maybe I should call it another way, or what should I do? And I was devastated and I was angry with myself that I delayed it for such a long time, and now I can't use this name anymore. So I called my sister. She's 20 years old. She's studying acting. She has nothing to do with marketing, podcasting, whatever. And I'm like, oh my God, Kate, I don't know. I'm so devastated. So I published my podcast, and there is a podcast with the same name already. I don't know, like, I put so much effort into it. I don't know if I would ever be able to come up with something like this that would inspire me so much. How, how do you think I should approach the naming of the podcast? And she says, oh, I don't see any problem. You have two tattoos, so call the name of the second one. And from Fortune favors the brave, I changed the name to Art for Art's sake. And that's it.
There you go. For every problem, there's a
Yeah, and
solution.
it's like
Yeah.
I did it the same day. So I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, it works for me as well.
And also, I think we put so much importance on every single decision. I'm not belittling. There are decisions that are very, very important. But I think procrastination, I mean, I don't know, I can't remember quotes about that. If you procrastinate too much, you stress too much, your cortisol levels go up, you don't get things done. Better to get it out, make some
Yeah.
mistakes, and then correct rather than not do it at all. Because if you don't do anything, yeah, you can't make a mistake, but you also can't move forward.
Hmm.
So just keep going, keep going. And that actually, we're laughing now. Okay, I will do, I'm in the next fuck up event. But yeah, when we first met and you first mentioned it, it's so arrogant to say, but I've been really struggling. I'm like, oh, but what are my fuck ups? Not because I don't have them, but because I've never viewed them as
And you
such.
didn't focus on them as,
Never. I have
yeah, yeah.
never, honestly, and I'm struggling now to like find ones that I would fault because everything's like, oh, that's a mistake. Boom, move on, change it and
Yeah.
go. And so I just laugh at everything and just keep on moving.
I
Johnny Walker,
I
keep
have
moving.
an advice for you.
Yeah, please do.
So, how it all started, like with the Fuckup Nights, I was invited to speak at Fuckup Nights in Kazakhstan. So, in last February, I went there to present my fuck-ups, and
Yeah.
after that, bought the franchise. But when they asked me, like, do you want to speak at Fuckup Nights? I'm like, yes, I want, but I don't have any fuck-ups. I don't know if I can do that because, like, my memory erases all
It
the bad
raises
stuff.
them. And yet in this podcast alone, you've mentioned 7 or 8 that you've been laughing at and
Yeah,
have
well,
really changed and shaped you.
yeah, but then I was like, okay, so if I can't come up with any fuck ups like really
Mm.
important or big, I need to go to people and ask them. So I
Yes.
went to my colleagues, I went to my family, I went to friends, and then I'm like, okay, guys,
Hit
enough,
me with it.
enough,
Hit me with the bad
enough.
stuff.
And
You did this that time and it
yeah,
offended me.
yeah, and it was like that.
Yeah.
So my colleague started throwing me, Maria, this was really bad. You remember how you lost, I don't know, 10K on the project that never came out? Do you remember that? I'm like, oh my God, okay, okay, it's enough.
It's true. It's true. Well, I can think of quite a few in the hotel. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. I can't wait.
Yeah, me too.
So, bonus question. Everybody gets one of these babies.
Ooh,
So, yeah, the team at St. Raphael have all written, they get to write a question each, and they write their name sometimes. What did you get? I like this torn piece of paper.
ooh. If you could be best friend with any celebrity, who would it be?
I love that question.
Yeah,
Who asked it?
Cristiana Hajimanoli.
Oh,
Yeah.
Christiana, you go. Like it.
Oh my God, I really need to think about that. You know who I would be friends with? The Ukrainian president.
Oh, well,
I,
I bet he needs a massive hug now with
yeah,
Donald Trump.
yeah, I don't think that okay, he's a celebrity.
Yeah, he
Okay, he
is.
is,
Yeah.
yeah, given his background and everything. But I just was talking to my friends yesterday that okay, everyone has different thoughts on
Mm,
politics, and it's a sensitive
definitely.
question. Okay, but judging from the human perspective, how much pressure he has, how good he's holding himself, what decisions he's making on spot when, for example, during the Donald Trump when he's under pressure in the Oval Office or something like
Hmm.
this, I feel like he's a person that you should uh, relate to and you should look forward to like to talk
Yeah,
to
look
him,
up
look
to.
up to, yes, sorry, the right word, yeah, look up to him because he's amazing in what he's doing, and every single day for the 3 years he's been online and sharing what decision he has made during this day, and like I'm really inspired by his courage, by how he's holding himself up during this time because sometimes you don't have so much responsibility as him and you're like already tired and you 1 day off and you want to disappear and he doesn't have this opportunity now, but he's really doing great like in terms of a person and in terms of like his power,
Mm.
human power, And yeah, I would really like to be friends with him if that's possible.
Maybe. Never say never. Maria, thank you so much. This has been definitely eye-opening, awe-inspiring, and really, really useful.
Thank you so much
Thank you
for
for
inviting. It
sharing.
was such a fun conversation.
Well, here's to many more, and we'll see you all at the next Fuck Up event.
Yes, come to
On
listen to Farah's Fuckups.
Ooh, yeah, you want to know all my mistakes? I'll share them all with you. Great. Mwah.
Yeah,
Thank you so
thank you
much.
so much for inviting.
Thank you for listening, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button because it helps us more than you may realize. If you are planning on coming to visit us at St. Raphael Resort and Marina, feel free to email our reservations team quoting Hotel Talk and receive an exclusive offer just for you. We look forward to seeing you soon, hearing your feedback about our show, and producing many, many more interesting episodes just for you, our listener, and our valued guest in mind. Thank you so much, and take care.